This video is sort of a sequel to my review on the Tournament of Sources, so if you haven't checked that out already, it would add some extra insight. The point today expands a little more upon how Sora won. To recap what we talked about in the last video, we discussed how Sora came from being a pretty below average ninja with a bad attitude and no will to train in the beginning, to now winning the Tournament of Sources and almost learning Spinjitzu. She's come so far. However, her winning the Tournament of Sources is what we're gonna focus on today. It's clear she won due to circumstance, since Zane, Cole, Lloyd, and Nia all lost because of some kind of cheating going on in the tournament, thanks to Blecht. And then at the end, she won because of the fact that Noct had to be disqualified since he went full rogue in the tournament to resurrect the Forbidden Five. So yes, we could say Sora's win was circumstance, but also keep in mind her games were rigged too. She was put on a balance course against the master of balance, yet she was able to persevere. So I think we can safely say that Sora deserves a lot of credit for winning as well. But then that brings us to the next and main point of the video. Knowing Sora did have a lot to do with their win, how in the world did this random new elemental master technology make it so far? Keep in mind there were so many other elemental masters who had probably trained for much longer than Sora in the tournament. You could say it's plot armor since the ninja have to be the main characters and win in some sense every season, but personally I have a couple thought trains on why I think it goes a lot deeper into why Ryu exists and how Sora's power might have a little bit more reason to exist. So let's talk about Sora's power. She is the elemental master of technology, which from the beginning has been really cool, but also raises a lot of questions. Has this power existed since before technology existed? Are new powers created when the world comes up with new aspects? Technology isn't really an element. It's kind of something that derives from people. She said when she was fighting those old-timey robot guards when the ninja were entering the tournament that she couldn't use her powers on them because they were so old that they're not really technology. Now she could have been saying that she didn't know how the technology worked, but I was rewatching the clip and it felt like she was saying more that like her powers just did not work on them, period. Which could be a huge breakthrough because it confirms her powers are specifically just for more complex machinery and equipment developed by more modern application of scientific knowledge. Which means either her power could not have existed before the world advanced and the first proper technology was made, or it existed the whole time but it was just waiting to come out at the right time. Either way, we know Ninjago's elemental powers derive from a source, and it would be impossible for Sora's power to ever be visible until technology started to become a really prominent thing in the realms of Ninjago, whether it existed before or not. Now, while keeping that in mind, I also think it's crossed all our minds at a certain point that Ryu might be a source dragon. That theory doesn't have too much to back it up, but he undeniably has very special powers, and it's clear he can't be a matriarch dragon since those dragons usually have a crown like Horn, and his tribe already has a successor matriarch. So it leads us to assume he could be a source dragon. Now I think what's happening is as we've seen the world of Ninjago changing, technology becomes more prominent and normal elemental powers like the powers our ninja have seem to become more and more obsolete in situations because there just seems to be more and more devices introduced that either negate their powers like the Empress's mech or flat out make it so they can't use their powers. The balance is a little off here, and that's where Sora comes in. Her power is almost like this balancing act. It's taking the very things that could have been the bane of all elemental masters eventually and making it an elemental power which brings back the balance. That makes it pretty important. We don't know how source dragons are created, but maybe Ryu being a possible new source dragon was born to embody a new aspect of the world becoming prominent enough. And one of the powers under Ryu, if Ryu was a source dragon, would be technology. Maybe there are a lot of new elements that come with Ryu being a source dragon to embody multiple aspects of the changes in the world. This could also potentially explain why Sora never has a source dragon symbol on the back of her uniform, but Wildfire didn't either, so maybe it's just a new ninja thing. Coming back to why Sora won this tournament, Sora's power of technology being the new balancing act to keep elemental powers relevant makes it so much more powerful. It's kind of like why Cole is generally more powerful than most of the main ninja team since Earth is everywhere. Technology, while not as common as the Earth, is still very much a foundational aspect of so much of the merged realms. So it's safe to say Sora's power is probably one of the most powerful elements currently from a circumstance perspective since the whole world runs on what she is the master of. So while technology right now is kind of played off as some element on the side, I feel like it might have a bigger role just like Ryu in the grand scape of Dragons Rising, just because of how odd it is that a power like technology exists in the first place. But we'll see how things go. What theories do you have regarding her power? Do you think there's more to it than meets the eye, or is it simply just a really cool concept that LEGO wanted to make toys off of? Thank you for watching, and as usual, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.